Hello everyone, welcome back to Allcarnews, and we are here with another 5 Series of this latest generation on the channel here. First we had the i5 M60 last spring, and now we have the entry-level model. This is the BMW 530i xDrive, and it's coming well equipped here at around $73,000. So we got some nice options and a gorgeous shade of Brooklyn gray paint. And it's no secret that you guys have a lot to say about this car on the internet. We have comments on the design, comments on the interior, comments on the packaging, the materials, all over the place. There's a lot of interesting comments here. And of course, now we have the new M5 that's out, and we also have a new addition to the lineup for 2025 as well, the 530i plug-in hybrid, which is a nice amount of power. You get a B58 under the hood, as well as some additional electric juices. So you get a lot of different options now in the 5 Series lineup, but I have to say this 530i still impressed me actually with its comfortableness, its luxury, as well as that athletic performance that BMW is still able to infuse into all of their vehicles today, even with all of the technology and all of the crazy features that you're still getting on this car. So how does it compare to things like the new Mercedes-Benz E-Class, the a little bit older but soon to be refreshed Audi A6, as well as one of the hottest new competitors in this segment, the Genesis G80? We're going to go find out in this tour and review, so let's go dive in. Now, of course, since we have the BMW 530i, under the hood here is the very familiar BMW B48 engine, and of course that is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder power plant, and of course in this application mounted longitudinally, sending power to all 4 wheels. You can also get an entry-level rear-wheel drive model as well. It's making around 255 horsepower and around 295 pound-feet of torque, as BMW claims, but I think in reality we're getting a little bit more power out of this engine, because for some reason, somehow this giant car around 4,000 pounds with this 4-cylinder can do 0 to 60 in around 5.5 to 5.8 seconds, which is pretty impressive. But this is a fantastic engine. This is the latest generation of the B48, so it's been heavily enhanced for this latest series. So we have a 48-volt mild hybrid system attached to this engine, though it isn't the most advanced one in the segment. Some things like Mercedes's 48-volt 4-cylinders, they can completely shut off on the highway or in certain situations to just coast and get you the best fuel economy possible. BMW's B58 inline 6 can do that, but for some reason this one doesn't, but it still does enable efficient coasting, and it does come to a stop really smoothly and shuts off right before the stop, which is kind of a cool motion. MPG numbers, we're going to see around up to 35 MPG EPA rated on the highway, though, and that is definitely an achievable figure on this car. It's actually quite efficient, but again, the B58 inline 6 is somehow even more efficient than this 4-cylinder, which is really an impressive feat. 37 mpg on the highway, you can even see on that car, sometimes even higher if you're really driving in a nice efficient style. But this is an impressive powertrain, and it always goes to show the versatility of this 5 Series. You can get this, you can get the inline 6, you can get the inline 6 plug-in hybrid. There's of course the new M5 that's out now, and of course we have the i5 Series, which is the same chassis and vehicle, just with batteries underneath and electric motors. So BMW's done a lot on this platform, and it shows that they've put a lot of technology and engineering efforts into this vehicle. And of course, we also have the M Sport package, so that's going to get us a sporting suspension in this particular one, so it's a little bit stiffer than a regular 5 Series would be without this M Sport package. And of course, we have paired to this engine the 8-speed automatic gearbox from ZF, which isn't my favorite application of this particular gearbox, as the rest of the B48s in the transverse style BMWs and Minis all get now a 7-speed dual clutch gearbox. Interesting combinations of stuff and how you can kind of get this B48, but that's the engine in this 530i. Let's go take a tour of the exterior and interior designs. Now, of course, one of the most controversial bits of this new Generation 5 Series is the styling, and largely I actually am a quite nice big fan of this styling language on the side profile, and some of the angles and lines of this car just look really and truly incredible and dynamic in person, though there are still things that I still have some questions figuring out about. And that has to do with this lower bumper area over here across the 5 Series lineup, not really on the new M5, but I just think this area is a little bit too big and chunky, and it makes the grille kind of blend into the bumper a little bit. Interesting look for the face, and especially for the entry-level base pure versions of these 5 Series with the wheel combos. It looks a little bit unusual, so I'm sure they're working on this already and taking a lot of customer feedback in, but don't knock this design off the table just yet. There's still a lot of fantastic shapes and designs that you really need to see in person that I've grown to appreciate over time. Now, this is the M Sport package. There's also an M Sport package Professional, which blacks out even more trim, but I actually think this is a nice middle ground here. So we get the blacked out sportier bumpers on the lower end over here with this nice shadowline trim over here, but I actually really like this grille design. It's a nice little difference from the the glowing grills you can get on the BMWs. This one doesn't have that. It also has actual like designs in the grille, which I think really aid to the design overall of this front end. It looks quite nice. Those you can actually still get on the 530 with the executive package. This is just a premium package model here. And up front over here, we can also have the full adaptive BMW LED headlights here. This is the highest headlight trim you can really get on the 5 Series. There's no more laser light, even though you still get these little blue accents in here with that new style BMW signature, which on some models works, on some models I don't think it works as much. I think they could have done something a little bit more bold on this 5 Series. And that goes to say, we drove an E-Class over the summer as well, and as much as I love this vehicle, there's more luxurious natures coming out of that E-Class than I'm getting out of this 5 Series, which heavily leans on the athletic side, athletic luxury. E-Class more of that luxury of that style of vehicle. So keeping those things in mind, and we're kind of going through this little bit of a comparison throughout this video. Now over here on the wheel front, there's actually quite a few different wheel options you can get on the new 5 Series, and this is one of the largest ones you can get. These are the BMW individual wheel options on the 5 Series, and they're huge, 21 inches on this 530i xDrive, and I think they're a really gorgeous wheel. What BMW has done very well on this new generation of their G products is fill out these wheel arches really well with also pairing a really nice tire to work with these wheels. And across the lineup, what I've noticed is even if you go for a larger wheel option, you're not really compromising in terms of ride quality or noise of any kind of road noise coming into the cabin. So I think they've done a great job on that. Some manufacturers still need to work on that just a little bit, but generally I really like the design of these. I think they're a really nice, bold look. And since we have the M Sport package, we're getting upgraded performance M brakes hiding behind these wheels right here. So you can see those blue calipers. And let me tell you something, they stop really well for this entry level-ish BMW 530i. This is a fantastic handling car. Yes, it may only have the 4-cylinder, but nonetheless, it still drives really well. Now coming around to the rear of this BMW 530i, again, you can see all those nice blacked out accents we're getting with this M Sport package here. And again, I love the Brooklyn gray paint finish on this new generation 5 Series. It really is a nice design. One of my also favorite touches on the 5 Series now and all new BMWs is how they're putting the model logo in the Hofmeister kink area here. So we have that 5 right there. I think it's a cool touch. Some people think it's a little gimmicky, but that's totally up to you. Really nice, strong side profile over here. I think this is one of the strongest parts of the new 5 Series' design. It looks really dynamic, almost like a Grand Coupe-esque Grand Tourer, which is a really cool look. We have this kind of black trim over here. Thankfully, it's a painted black, not plastic. That's kind of just platform-wise stuff we're seeing, because now this has to fit batteries and the engines at the same time. So this is a visual trick when you get the i5's model, I can tell you that. Now, also on this 530i, we thankfully have a fully power rear tailgate back here, which opens up to us to around 18.4 cubic feet of cargo space back here, which is not that bad. Of course, in the US, we're getting the M5 Touring, of course, which is only coming in the fully loaded M5, so that's gonna open up way more cargo space to over 50 cubic feet, but other markets, of course, get all the Touring variants. Now, underneath here, we actually have a Space Saver spare back here, which is a very rare thing in modern BMWs, because most of them come with run flats, but you do have that in this particular 5 Series. I think you can remove this whole thing if you wanted to increase your space a little bit, but we have a little bit of some nice little storage cubbies over here, which is not too bad. The seats can fold flat in the second row, of course, in the rear to kind of increase that cargo space just a little bit. No particular ski pass-through, though the whole second piece can fold down if you kind of want to make it act like a ski pass-through. A little bit of some nice little cargo storage on the side over here, and that's pretty much all of our cargo space in the back of the 5 Series. Not too bad, but of course, you're going to want to go with an X5 or something much larger if you want to increase your cargo capacity. Let's go hop in the rear seats of this BMW 530i here. And of course, we can open up our rear doors here. We have keyless access on the front 2 doors, not on the rear doors. I would like to see it on the rear doors. That'd be a nice luxury touch. Opening up the doors, you will notice an incredibly nice door sounding thunk. Just have a listen to that. Wow, that sounds solid. Opening up the store panel here, and we can reveal a nice looking interior combo here. So we have this red style Vaganza interior here. This is not leather, it's their kind of vegan leather style, but it feels fantastic still to the touch. Nice contrast stitching here. We also have some soft touch materials across the entire door panel. These really interesting door handles now on the 5 Series, which are a little bit of a learning curve to use, but they feel and work perfectly fine. A little bit of a storage cubby over here. Again, soft touch materials, very solid feeling in terms of build quality. Huge speaker speaker grill over here for our Bowers and Wilkins system, and it is illuminated at night, which looks absolutely fantastic. And then we come to the rear seats themselves. Again, really nice design and pattern going on over here. We have this kind of dual contrasting on the Verganza all the way to the sides of the door panels, and look how big and comfortable these cushions are. Let's go hop inside and feel that. Again, nice solid door thunk in the back of this interior here, and check out what we have in front of us already in this back of the seat. So we have a little ambient light strip here, USB-C port, and a little bit of a accessory outlet here if you want to put in like an iPad holder or something along the lines of that. In the center console area over here, we have our own rear air vents with some controls, more USB-C ports, and a little storage cubby over here. We do have a big hump in the floor as we do have a drive line going to the rear wheels, but nonetheless, pretty nice amounts of space back here. Now, as you can see on the floor area over here, I have plenty of foot space and legroom and knee room, and I'm sitting behind myself as a 6-foot tall driver, so definitely a comfortable space to be back here. Some more colored ambient lighting on the floor over there. The seats themselves are quite comfortable, I do have to say. They have a nice deep pocket back here, so you can feel like you're really sitting all the way in the back of the seat. Some nice thigh support as well, and the seats themselves very comfortable, lots of cushion and lots of support back here. And these windows go all the way far back to allow some nice space in the back of this cabin here. Pop down this little center armrest here. We have an armrest itself and 2 cup holders, which is a nice touch. And in the upper portion over here, we have some rear ambient lighting as well to kind of increase some visibility in the cabin at night, but that will also be due in part to this massive fixed glass sunroof over here, which does have a shade that closest from the front to the back, which is pretty interesting. But nice large amounts of space over here, though it does not open whatsoever. Base models without this can get an opening sunroof, which is an interesting note as well. Otherwise, this is a pretty nice and spacious place to be. Material wise, I think it's okay. E-Class can get a little bit more luxurious feeling, I think, than the 5 Series now, but you can get real leathers and upgraded materials in here as well, so that's really no worry. But let's go have a look now at the front cabin over here, because this is the main cockpit where you're really going to want to be in the 5 Series behind the wheel. Now let's get into the front end of the BMW 5 Series. Of course, we have our key fob here. Don't need it because we can just unlock the vehicle like this. We do have our mirrors unfold, and down here at night, we actually have a light that projects onto the ground, which you can change by buying a subscription. So if you buy a package, you can actually change the pattern of that light. It doesn't come standard on this vehicle like it can on like the executive package or something like that. Hopping inside, again, same nice materials on the door panels, nice little intro over there, and here we can see more of that Bowers and Wilkins speakers on the side, as well as this really nice aluminum trim on this particular 530i. So let's start it up. We have our start stop button right here in the center. Well, if you've seen my BMW i5 M60 review, it's a very familiar space, as this is pretty much what you're going to see on almost every single 5 Series, with one major omission on this particular 530. It's the light bar. So on all 530s essentially that do not have the executive package, the top trim package, you're not getting that giant crystal style glass light bar that we can see in all of the other 5 Series, as well as the 7 Series as well. So instead, we get this gloss black panel throughout the interior over here, and it's interesting as it kind of mimics their taillights a little bit back here, and it still does do that cool blinking animation when you turn on your hazard lights, even over here on the door panel here. But I just don't think it's as spectacular looking as that crazy moving glowing animated light bar that we get in the other models. But it's still, thankfully, we are getting ambient lighting in this interior, and it's still found throughout this space, which is a nice touch. And of course, you can change it. And on this bar, of course, we have all of our controls, from our seat memory to lock and unlock the doors over here. It's this haptic kind of touch panel inside over here, which is sometimes takes a little bit of force to get used to. Our lighting controls are over here, so you just quickly press this button and it opens up our page in the screen to kind of control lighting controls as well. Same thing goes with our interior lighting up here, so we press this button, it opens up our interior cockpit brightness and ambient lighting controls as well. We have an interior camera as well on this one, which is a nice touch. More ambient lighting up here. And of course, since this is the M Sport package, we're getting the M Sport steering wheel. And fun note over here is that the 12 o'clock marker is not red like it is on the i5 M60, as this isn't an M Lite model. It's just an M Sport package. An absolutely huge heads-up display up there, which you can't really see on camera, but in person, it's one of the best, if not the best, in the industry. And speaking of best in the industry, that has to go to this iDrive 8.5 infotainment system here. Still one of my favorites, hands down. It works seamlessly, so well, so quick, no issues whatsoever, and you really do get used to it quite quickly. Apple CarPlay works fantastic. The voice assistants work fantastic. All the notes and touching responsiveness is is just really, really great on here. So the only real complaint, I guess, is just all of the climate controls are still just baked into the screen, but you definitely get used to it, especially with the newer style, kind of quick access bars for heated seats and heated steering wheel. If you get the luxury seating package, ventilated seats as well, all in this little bar over here, which is a nice touch. We do have some physical buttons for our defrosting mode, so that's still there if you need it as a quick touch, but everything's pretty well accessible in there, and you can control it by voice if you want as well. Of course, very familiar with all of these configurable cluster controls on our iDrive display over here for our instrument cluster. Incredible amounts of customization here. This one also is getting the AR camera, so you can use AR navigation, and when you're in your driving assistance professional package, so this one does have that. You can see there are little lights right here. It can automatic lane change by looking at the mirrors, which we'll get to on the highway. So really, really cool functions up there. Center console wise over here, there is a lot of gloss black material going on over here. Thankfully, it does not feel cheap. It feels incredibly solid, even though it's still stored that plastic-ish style material. It's like built like a tank in here. So there will be some fingerprints, but it works quite fine. This whole panel is illuminated though at night. As you can see, we have a volume control knob here, but we also have gesture controls as well in this 5 Series. So you can use that to kind of control some things as well. Our nice glowing iDrive controller, thankfully, is still here with some nice haptic buttons that work all very well. Nice solid touch in there, and of course we can zoom in and out, do all of the controls on this infotainment system via touch as we can with this iDrive control knob as well. So that's a nice thing to have. We have our newer style BMW shifter over here, so of course drive, neutral, reverse. Popping it into reverse reveals a nice camera system, but you can really access that by pressing our parking assistance button right here, which does have the full parking assistance package where it can map your spots out. It can park in and out of spots. Really incredible system there. We have a front panoramic view, full 360 view as well, which we can use our gesture controls to kind of move the car around. Fun little gimmicky stuff, but honestly, these gesture controls are really fantastic to use in person. I honestly think every car should just have it. It's so easy. Think about it. You're driving, just quickly roll up the volume knob. You don't want to do it on the steering wheel. I think it's a fun way to do it, and it kind of maintains your focus on the road once you just kind of get those muscle memories in there with that. Nice big wireless charging mat over here with a cooled wireless charger. So there's a little slot over here that has a fan cooling your phone so it doesn't overheat, as well as another fun phone slot. We also have 2 USB-C ports up here, as well as 2 big cup holders as well. And they made sure to leave enough space over here for really tall cups, as we have in this American market here. Nice, comfortable armrests over here. Again, incredible build quality in the 5 Series, as we would expect from BMW these days. Open up to this fan style design. We have a small little storage cubby over here that is felt lined, 12-volt socket on there, and of course a little bit of some ambient lighting inside that has a nice closing sound to it as well. Decent style of size of glove box over here. Could be a little bit bigger though. Again, nice felt lined. And I absolutely love this aluminum trim on this particular 5 Series. It feels fantastic. It's real aluminum, very cold to the touch, and it wraps around the entire dash over here, which I think is a really nice luxurious touch. But we have plenty of options for trim from wood. So this one wood has like a lightning bolt through it. You have a lot of really cool things you can do there. And of course, I think carbon fiber on the new M5 as well. Otherwise, we have this nice big fixed panoramic glass roof that we saw in the rear seats, and of course it closes reverse, so it closes from front to back, which is really interesting. But it's pretty quick actually in its operation, and it can be paired with different drive modes as well as open and close when you unlock and lock the vehicle as well. So that's a nice touch. Speaking of My Modes, we get the full My Mode experience in this BMW 530. So from personal to sport, efficient modes, expressive, relax, and digital art. So these are pretty much all of the modes we're seeing in like something like the i5, M60, or just an i5, but they don't make all those crazy Hans Zimmer-esque noises in the modes. We just get some pumped-in engine sound from sport mode, which is actually quite nice of a touch for this B48, because it is a pretty quiet engine overall, even though it's being pretty efficient most of the time. And we do have, of course, efficient mode to get the best fuel economy we can out of this car. This is not a good number. We've been driving a little hard, but I've seen 35 mpg on highway runs, which is pretty impressive. Otherwise, this is the interior of the 530i, but the premium package, of course, executive package can still be had. You get a little bit more features, but generally visually, it's going to look pretty much the same other than that giant light bar. Let's go take this BMW 530i on a drive and see how it handles out on the road.
The 5 Series is a fantastically comfortable vehicle to drive, especially with this B48 engine under the hood. It's very, very smooth now, especially with the 48-volt mild hybrid system here, and it can really just kind of coast along its way. And when you are in the efficiency drive mode, for example, it will offer you an even more subtle accelerator motion, and when you're coming off to a stop here, it kind of goes into like this efficient coasting mode where it really just has the engine as idle as it can be possibly can to give you the best fuel efficiency. Brake pedal in the 5 Series is definitely something to get used to if you're coming from another brand. If you're a BMW owner, very familiar style of that integrated braking system there. Definitely takes some time to get used to otherwise, but it is a strong braking system, especially with these M Performance brakes on this particular 530i with the M Sport package here. And we also have this nice M Sport suspension in this particular one. It's not adaptive dampers, but it's definitely a stiffer ride. So if you don't really want that, you might want to go for a non-M Sport package, but then your options do become a little bit limited in terms of paints and wheel choices here. Coming to a stop here. Even in sport mode, it comes to a nice calm stop, and we're in efficient mode. Of course, we have auto stop start activated, auto hold, so you're really comfortable coming to a stop there. And the engine just instantly kicks on. You don't even notice it even turns off when you're coming to a stop there. So that's a really nice touch that BMW's really worked on with this 48-volt mild hybrid system here. Now, since we do have the sport mode, you can unlock some more secret modes here. When you go in, you can turn your drivetrain to Sport Plus, your driving dynamics into almost DSC off. So that's going to lower our traction control a little bit. And if we go into our adaptive driving settings as well, you kind of get some cool sport displays to show what's going on with the performance of the engine, as well as you can see your torque, power, turbo boost, as well as some temperature gauges as well. Some nice sounds out of the B48. We do have iconic sounds, which is really just amplifying the sound of the engine into the speakers of the cabin. It kind of sounds good through the Barrows and Wilkins audio system as well over here. And I have to say, very light steering on the 5 Series, but it still handles like a BMW. The steering may be light, but it's incredibly sharp, and it handles itself very well around a corner. Very planted, a little bit of very controlled body roll. And that's the best way, I think, to describe the driving experience of this latest generation 5 Series. Is everything has a very nice precision and control to it, regardless of kind of the weighting of the steering or any sort of those types of dynamics. Very curious to drive the 540i as well with the B58, as well as the all-new 550e and M5 to kind of see how they've tuned the lineup. Really strong power out of the B48. Torque comes in around 1600 RPM, so it really feels instant. And with the 48-volt system, it's pretty strong off the line. Really good around these corners here. Feels very planted for a mid-size luxury sedan. Now, compared to something like an E-Class, for example, this is definitely going to be a stiffer ride and just an overall more athletic experience driving this thing around here. And that might be a detriment to some who want a more floaty, comfortable ride. You're not going to necessarily get that in the 5 Series, even though this is offering a fantastic damping, great suspension control across the lineup, even with all these different engines and even EV powertrains. But definitely leans more on the athletic side, which in my personal opinion is a great thing to have. Now, out here on the highway, I like to go into either efficient or personal mode. Those are the most efficient modes you're going to be able to have here, and that will always still have the e-boost function over here will always be accessible to you when you do need it, even including in efficient mode. So let's say you need that additional boost of power out here on the highway. All you have to do is hold down on this left paddle here, and you're gonna get 10 seconds of additional boost from the engine to give you a little bit more power when needed, which is a nice touch here. Let's see if we can get a little example of that. There we go, 10 seconds of boost has been activated. It gets you right up to speed. Now, out here on the highway, we are using the BMW navigation system, which is a nice touch. And since we are using that, I'm going to activate our BMW driving assistance package. Now, there is an additional higher assistance package that you can actually fully take your hands off the steering wheel, but this one works just fine as well. You can see it's trying to auto lane change for us as well already, but there is a vehicle right there, so I think it was going to wait for an opening. Otherwise, it works really well in these conditions. Now it sees this, checking traffic. It sees I'm checking traffic, and it changed lanes for me just like that. Oh, that's so cool. And it's quick. Since this 5 Series has such a sharp, it's doing it again. Check my mirror, and it's changing lanes. Oh, that is so cool. I really love this system, BMW. Some nice AR animations here with our BMW navigation system as well. And again, nice strong acceleration coming out of corners. This was a nice sound as well on this B48 engine. And one of the great things that the 5 Series is still very much capable of is masking speed at higher speeds, especially on the highway, just cruising along. It just does a fantastic job at making you feel like you're just going in a smooth, straight line. No real undulations or movements coming into you as a driver or passenger in the vehicle. It's just really, really comfortable and quiet. You can be doing nice high highway speeds and you just feel like you're going a lot slower, which is, I guess, a little dangerous in some scenarios, but if you're paying attention, it's perfectly fine. Now, coming to a stop as well, we're in this efficiency mode here. You can see it starts charging that 48 volt battery system here, which we got some cool indicators on our screen over here, as well as on all of our other screens. Well, how would I sum up this week's experience with the BMW 530i xDrive? Well, it is a fantastically comfortable, well-efficient, just well-rounded dynamic vehicle at the end of the day, especially for a mid-sized sedan. If you want my own personal recommendation, I would shell out the few grand more and upgrade to the 540i or 540 xDrive. I honestly think you're going to be getting your money's worth even more so in that vehicle. You're getting a lot more features standard actually than even in this 530, including that glowing light bar, if that really does matter to you a lot. But at the end of the day, you're going to be getting the B58 inline 6, which at the end of the day, as fantastic as this car is, the B58 is somehow still and can be more efficient than this 530i with the 4-cylinder. And it's offering you way more power, a lot more fun, and it really enhances, I think, the optimal version of this 5 Series chassis. Before you know, this is a fantastic car. I think there's still some room for improvement with some luxurious note levels in here. It doesn't even feel as luxurious as an X5 in some scenarios in terms of interior trims and qualities. I've been in plenty of 5 Series in this particular new generation, and I still get that same little feel, even though it has this fantastic iDrive system. Really great build quality is completely top-notch, and yes, there's a lot of wonderful still touch points here, but when you look at something like this new E-Class now, they've really cranked up that baby S-Classness to the next level, and this has a lot of baby 7 Series in it, but I wonder if they could do a little bit more. I'd be curious to see. Nonetheless, really, really minor silly complaints here. This is a fantastic car. Definitely consider one if you're looking for a more affordable-ended and pretty efficient mid-size 5 Series luxury sedan. Anyways, guys, stay tuned for more as I sit in this traffic. I'm coming on Allcarnews soon. Cheers.